Hi, health coach Cassandra here from Namio Health. I'm a certified personal trainer and certified health coach.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Natalie Muth. I'm a pediatrician and registered dietitian and co-founder alongside Cassandra of Namio Health.
And today we're going to talk about physical activity and helping our kids to be more active and some of the pain points that parents experience when trying to get their kids to be more active. So, one of the common questions that we get is if a child isn't necessarily interested in sports, they don't want to be on a team sport, they feel kind of maybe pressured by their parent to get out and move in some way, and what to do when they say that they don't want to or they're not interested.
Yeah,
Do you want to tackle this
I'm
one
really
first?
excited. Yeah, I can. I would love to start and just because I have a couple of like key points that I really think are really important to highlight. One is we know from lots of studies in real life, kids will be active if they think it's fun. So while us as adults, we might make ourselves do things, we might go run on the treadmill or make ourselves do other kinds of activity that we don't totally enjoy because we know it's good for us. And that just is not the key to this with kids at all. It really is finding something that they enjoy doing, that they feel confident in doing, they feel is fun for them. And that is when they are going to look forward to it and do it and get all of the many, many, many benefits that come from being active. So I would just say, number one, most important thing to try to do as a parent with the kid who seems reluctant to be active is try to find something that they actually like doing. And you might have to brainstorm with them, or you might have to go out and experiment with different types of activities. You might go with them and do it, or have their best friend do it with them. But really, really take the time and the effort to try to find a type of physical activity that your kid likes to do. Because once they like to do it, they're going to choose to do it and they're going to get all those many benefits that come, and you don't have to fight them about it.
Yes,
And,
so good.
and I think there is actually, I have yet to find, honestly, I have yet to find a kid really who can't find anything that is related to moving their body that they don't like in some way. It might be doing video games that have like an activity component to them, right? Um, but there is something out there that we can help our kids to find to kind of to like at least a little bit that they're willing to do it.
Yes, for sure. And then I think part of it too is if your child is younger, making it part of the routine from a young age as doing something as a family and letting them see you enjoy moving your body as well. And it could be as simple as getting out together and going on a walk, or they're choosing the place where you're going on a walk, or they're choosing the playlist or the podcast, or, giving a couple of choices. We're going on a walk after dinner. Would you like to bring your scooter? Would you like to bring your bike? Now, of course, that is more directed toward a younger child, but Dr. Meath, you have teenagers. What about when they're a stubborn teenager and they're saying they don't want to go on the family walk?
I never, what? My kids would never say they don't want to go on a walk with me. What are you
Not
talking
your
about?
kids.
Yeah, of course not. They ask to go on walks with me every night. No. Well, so there's a few, I'll answer that, but there's like a few key points too that I want to highlight from like what you just said too that are really like great takeaways. Um, One is, but to answer your question about my teens who don't necessarily want to go for a walk with me, because to be honest with you, they often don't want to go for a walk with me. But one of them is all of a sudden like loves running. Who would have thought? Never thought he would love running. Used to be more water polo, swimming. All of a sudden, running. Okay, it's his thing. Other one likes doing volleyball. She likes to go for a walk with her friend, not me, but with her friends. That's cool. If you don't want to do it with me, I I mean, I'm sad about that, but I'm glad you're doing it somewhere. And if you're with your friends and doing positive things, that is fantastic. And it's really about that key of like they're finding things that they like to do and also like the culture with their friends, like their friends are active. In fact, my son, who just recently got into running, before he's gotten super into hiking and he's doing all these like really difficult hikes with his friends that just like I would have never guessed it 5 years ago that that was going to be 5 months ago that that was going to be his thing. But he found his thing, and I think he found a new thing. He's got different things over time, um, but it's the culture of being active that's core to like our family and what we do in the modeling. And I don't want to take credit for their activity. I'm going to right now, but I shouldn't because they do it. But to your point of like starting young, when you kind of having role modeling from parents, we know from studies, active parents tend to raise active kids, even if you're not pushing them to be active. That modeling goes a long way. And having it be something that you do early on together, encouraging them trying out lots of different types of activities when they're little, can help them to find things that they like to do, to have movement be part of their life from a young age. And if they are feeling confident in that movement, they're more likely to keep doing it and to stay active as they get older, even if it's that they're not wanting to go for walks or bike riding or scootering with us anymore. But if they're doing something that they like to do, it's a win.
Yes, perfect. And also just taking into consideration their unique personality. A lot of times we do think that, sports are the way for young kids or, that middle school age to be active, but there are so many different types of classes. And if they don't necessarily want to be out with their peers, there are ways to get, solo activity as well. So just, looking into what's available, oftentimes community centers or YMCA or things like that can be an opportunity to have a lower cost opportunity to try different things and try different classes as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I also want to make sure that we cover like, while it's great if you have a child, if you have a child, who's younger and they're open to you trying new things with them with activity, and if they already like stuff. But let's be honest, let's be real. Like there are a lot of kids who aren't active right now for various different reasons. Might be just don't want to be, have different conditions or concerns that make it harder to be active. And to go from there, that's really what the pain point is that you started with parents. Let's go there, let's go in that moment, and that with that child, the parent, like, my kid is not active, my kid does not want to do anything that I offer to them or suggest to them. I invite them to go with me, they won't. I want to get them out of the house and do something, and they won't. Okay, so we're starting there. To my earlier point, like, try to see, like, what do they enjoy doing in general in life? Like, what are their favorite hobbies? What are the things that they like? Can you think of any type of activity that could be tied to something that they already enjoy, or something they might start off being really good at? And once they do it a little bit, they might feel confident or feel strong about it and want to keep doing it. And that's where the nuggets are, that every kid will be a little different. Every experience might be a little different, but I really recommend to parents, like, try to dig into that spot. Like, what do they like? What are they good at? Can you find a physical movement that's tied into that? And just one thing to add to that, a lot of times, we work with a lot of kids who may have increased weight, or there's concerns related to that. And a lot of times with the increased weight, there's increased muscle mass too, and there's a lot of strength. So we find a lot of times, like, resistance training or kind of strength related type exercises can be a great starting point for a lot of kids who maybe, they don't want to, don't make me go on a treadmill, right? Like, I'm not doing that. And that's fine. Like, that doesn't, let's do something else. Sometimes it could be like, hey, let's go to the Y, like Cassandra mentioned, or a lot of times gyms will do free orientations, or there's very low cost or free sliding scale opportunities to get some exposure and try some new things out, or weightlifting, resistance training, and find out that that actually is quite empowering, and keep doing that. And that's the starting point. And that can be a great place to start for a lot of kids.
Yes. And to your point about just digging in to their interests, I had a family recently tell me that they would go and do Pokemon Go together, and they found themselves outside, sometimes for an hour and a half, because they were together and it was fun, right? And so it's kind of that gamified exercise. For some teens who they might have fear, genuine, anxiety about going into a gym for the first time, we don't want to necessarily have more screen time, but there are really excellent YouTube channels that can facilitate some of those exercises so they can begin to build a little bit of confidence before they're doing it in a gym or before they're doing it somewhere else. So just kind of using those resources as well. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was focusing on the benefits outside of what you look like or calorie burn, but focusing on how you feel when you move your body. And especially if you're able to get a little bit of fresh air, it feels good and it can help to improve stress and you can sleep better. And you can even do better in school. You know, you have those benefits of being able to concentrate better. And then all of that snowballs. And the more that you do it, the better you feel, and it makes it not so difficult to get out the door or to go to the activity. So, again, it's a process, it doesn't happen overnight, but the more that you can focus on those positive benefits outside of burning calories, outside of, looking a certain way or anything like that, but just focusing on how they can feel, how they can get better sleep or anything like that can be a real win as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And the fun part of it, you mentioned Pokemon
Yes.
Go,
Yeah.
just going and not even thinking about it. Like, there's a lot of like, I don't want to say covert because that sounds sneaky, but there's a lot of kind of like sort of covert ways that you can get kids out and moving and being active without them necessarily realizing it. In fact, there's good studies that show even just being outside, like Cassandra mentioned, like even when kids are just outdoors, they naturally are going to be more active and moving. So it might just be about like, we're going to the park, do whatever you want
Hmm.
to do while we're at the park. But that's what like we're headed in that direction, or we're going to go to the pool, depending on where you're at and what you have access to. But we know kids are outside, they're more active. And also, not to say you need to get a dog or anything, but just to say teenagers who have there's been studies that show like teenagers who have a dog mostly, and take them for a walk, like their job is to take the dog for a walk, it's part of like the caretaking of their pet. They're more likely to kind of get out and get moving, and it's not about the exercise, it's about helping it's about the exercise but maybe for the dog, and like bonding with their pet. So there's different ways to go about it. But Cassandra mentioned a lot of the benefits. There's physical benefits, mental health benefits, just across the board. um, I feel like that's a good time to just mention what like the recommendations are for about how much activity kids in an ideal world should get, but also to say it's a process, and wherever your kid is right now, taking these small steps to get towards the goal. But we're aiming for trying to get 60 minutes of physical activity per day. Doesn't have to be all at once. Doesn't all have to be exercise where they're like, heart's necessarily beating fast and sweating, but trying to get that movement. And it can be in bursts of 5 or 10 minutes even, but trying to get 60 minutes most days. And ideally trying to get 2 or 3 days a week of some kind of muscle strengthening, bone strengthening type exercise. So that's where, the resistance training or the weight bearing type activity comes in. And Cassandra mentioned if like you could do that, apps and things like that. I just want to say, Cassandra also leads this through the Namio program as well, and can really help support kids or teens or families who are a little bit reluctant starting off or not quite sure where to start. It's something that we do, and we want to help people to do and feel confident and supported as they're starting an activity journey and finding those things that they really like doing and feel good about.
Yes, absolutely. And if you are interested, if your family needs support around nutrition or exercise or mindfulness or sleep or anything like that, Namio is here to support you, and you can learn more at namiohealth.com. Thank you, Dr. Muth.
Thanks, Cassandra.